today's topic is operating system. Okay. Under this topic, first of all, we will learn what exactly operating system is. Then we will see what is the need of an operating system and what functions does it perform. All right. Now, as far as operating system is concerned, we all have discussed this topic before also. I mean, 2-3 classes back when we were doing types of softwares, we did this operating system also. And it was told to you that operating system is what we have done, no? That we have two types of softwares, mainly one is system software and another one is application software, right? And operating system comes under the category of system softwares. Now, what exactly operating system is? You know that your computer is a dumb machine. You know it, no? It's an hardware and it cannot work anything on its own. It has no brains. It has no IQ level. It is a machine and it works according to the instructions of a user. Whatever commands, whatever instructions user gets, they are, you can say, interpreted by the operating system and they are conveyed to the hardware components of the computer system, and then hardware components perform that operation accordingly. Okay, so operating system is the most important software which is required to put on your computer. If operating system is not there, your computer does not start. And if your computer does not start, that means you cannot work with it. Fine. So operating system is a software that manages all the hardware present in the computer and it allocates the computer system resources to the application softwares. I explained you this point also in the previous class, that what is allocation of the resources, because whenever you need to run on any of the application, then that application has to be in the main memory, or if you want to use a printer or if you want to use a speaker, operating system will allocate that. Allocate means operating system will make that particular device available to you. If operating system is not there and you go with the printer or speaker, there is nobody to convey to that printer or to the speaker that user wants that to use that device. So that particular device will not be allocated to the user. And if the device is not allocated, you won't be able to use that device. So operating system allocates all the resources that are required by the user, right? We know that being a user, we work with application softwares, no? That's why it is written that it allocates the computer system resources to application softwares, because user directly works with the application softwares. For example, you work with Word, you work with Paint, you work with Excel, and when typing that operating system has to it has to make that keyboard available to you. Suppose you want to take out certain printouts, operating system has to make printer available to you. If suppose you are working with a music player or you are making some movie, fine, then operating system has to make speakers or microphones available to you, right? So operating system is very important software. In its absence, application softwares also do not work properly. Okay, most important computer software without which computer cannot function, this you know, and it manages and allocates to application softwares upon the request. Upon the request means whenever you start working with the device, automatically a request is sent. Suppose you are about to type, as you press any key on the keyboard, a request is sent to the operating system that user wants to type something, and then a request is sent to the operating system to make that keyboard available to you. Suppose you are going to play something, a request is sent to the speaker, to the operating system actually, to make speakers available to you. Is that clear what operating system is? Operating system is a system software which allocates the computer's resources to a particular user. All right. Then we have some examples of operating system. Windows XP is there, Unix is there, Linux, Mac, Android. Then in your smart classes, Ubuntu is there. All those are examples of operating system. When you work with a PC, normally PCs are having Windows operating system. Okay, Unix, Linux also is used in networking. If you are working with mobiles, mobiles are also devices. So mobiles में भी कोई ना कोई computer operating system होना चाहिए. Most of the mobile phones are Android based. So Android is what? Android is also an operating system. All right, is that clear? Then if we talk about the diagrammatic representation of your operating system, this is like this. Okay, here being a user, we are sitting here. Okay, we work with application softwares, that is any application software, that is your Firefox, Microsoft Office, Paint, Paint, Excel sheets, Corel Draw, anything, any application software. Application softwares are all those softwares which are available on your desktop in the form of icons. In the form of icons, all those icons that you click and you start working with, they all are called as application softwares. So a user work with the application software. Application software indirectly it sends all those commands to the operating system, and then commands are sent to the hardware. So practically speaking, operating system is a bridge. This operating system is a bridge between hardware of a computer and a user. We are sitting here, we want to interact with the hardware of the computer, we want to interact with CPU, we want to interact with printer, we want to interact with speakers, we want to interact with the processor or anything. All those are hardware devices. Now, speaker, printer, keyboards, mouse, all these hardware devices, they do not understand our language, right? So we want to communicate with a device which is not able to understand our language. So we need to have something, we need to have somebody, we need to have a medium which will make this communication possible. Okay, so this operating system is the one which makes communication between a user and a hardware device possible. So this operating system acts as a bridge, or you can say it acts as an interface between a user and a hardware. Is that clear? User never work with the operating system directly. User always work with application softwares. Application softwares, they pass on the commands to the hardware, but through the operating system. Directly, they also cannot pass on. And if they pass on also, these hardware devices will not be able to understand. So operating system converts all those commands in a form which is understandable to the computer. Then all those commands are interpreted and executed. So operating system is an interface between, interface or link or bridge, any term can be used. Operating system is an interface or a link or a bridge between a user and a hardware device. So the question is, what operating system is? What is it? First question, what does it do actually? ये करता क्या है? Abhi just now we spoke that it makes the communication possible, right? So answer is, its main job is to boot a computer system. Boot is what now? Boot is what? Booting is a process of loading your operating system files into the computer memory. This we have done already. Operating system, this process, booting, we have done in some class, in the previous classes. Now, all those who did not join all those classes, because today I'm happy to see these 43 students in my class. But before this, I had hardly 17, 18, 19 students, but we have done a lot. We have completed 3-4 chapters, and I'm not going to repeat all those chapters again now. Okay. So you have to struggle, fine? You see how you are going to cover them up. But we have discussed this, and we know what bootstrapping is, what booting is. Booting is a process of loading operating system files into computer memory. This is the cycle. When we switch on power button of a CPU, first thing that happens is BIOS means basic input output system. All right. BIOS is loaded into the memory of the computer. Then post is performed. Post is a test which is performed to check whether all the components of your computer system are working properly or not. Whether memory is okay, whether keyboard, mouse, all the connections are proper or not. If any of the device is not working, or if there is any error or any problem in the memory, you get a message there only on the screen that this particular error has occurred, and you do not get the desktop, you do not get the icons. So first step of bootstrapping is BIOS is loaded, and then after BIOS, that is basic input output systems. After we load this program, this is a program, this is a small software which is loaded into the memory. After this BIOS, post is performed. Post is just to check the functionality of the hardware devices of the computer system. Then if all the hardware devices are okay, then what happens? Operating system is loaded. Operating system is loaded from where? Operating system is stored where? Where do we store operating system? Can I have the answer in the chat box? Operating system is loaded. Third step is operating system is loaded. From where it is loaded? Where it is stored? Where do we save operating system? Are you going to answer? I'm waiting for your answers. Any idea? Where do we save operating system? Very good. No answer. This happens when you do not attend the class and when you do not join. No, very good. Kavita is giving me the correct answer. Tejasvi Sharma also wrote the correct answer. So operating system is loaded into the hard disk. It is saved into the hard disk. Now hard disk is not accessible to the computer. It is not accessible to the CPU directly. CPU can access only primary memory of your computer system, right? You know this, no? So operating system has to be loaded from the hard disk to the primary memory. So third step is operating system from the hard disk is loaded to the main memory of your computer. After that, system is configured properly. System configured का मतलब है memory is cleaned, all the keyboard, mouse, speakers, printers, all the devices are put on, they are kept on the human active mode, right? And then all the utility programs are also loaded, means backup, restore, disk cleanup, all those utility programs, they are also loaded. And then you get the desktop on the screen, and once you get the desktop on the screen, user is authenticated, fine, then only you can work with the PC. You can give any command, you can open any of the application, you can do whatever you want with your personal computer, but only after performing all these steps. If any one of these steps is not performed, if this test is giving you some errors, or if this is not happening, or if this is not happening, you will never get the desktop on the screen. Okay, so these are the steps. This is bootstrapping process. Okay, in bootstrapping process, what happens? Operating system is loaded into the primary memory, but before loading operating system into the primary memory, these two programs are also loaded. This is just to check the hardware circuitry of the computer system, and this is to check the basic input output system of the computer system. All right, is that okay? Okay, all right. Now wait, let me show you one video now. I'll stop this share and we will. I hope you can listen to the voice also. Just give me a confirmation in the chat box. All right, watch this video carefully. Now, I think you got an idea that what operating system is and what does it actually do. Now, after going through this video, and I too explained some slides, and before this also this was explained. I hope main idea, what exactly is it, is clear to all of you. Now, this is another diagram, but this is 2D diagram, which is shown here. So this is basically definition of a definition of an operating system. Now, definition, as far as the definition is concerned, definition as taught to you so many times that it is an interface between hardware and a user. Now, you have worked with plenty of, I mean, I don't know, you have worked with different versions of Windows. When you were very small, in a computer lab, we had Windows 95. Then when it was upgraded, we installed Windows 98. Then After that, again it was changed. It was changed to Windows Me and all, and now it is having some other version of Windows. So since your childhood, you are working with Windows operating system. You are working with Windows operating system, and all those who are using phones, some, I think some only are using Windows phone, but maximum people they use Android. So Android is again an operating system, and those who are using Windows phone, their operating system is Windows. So these are few examples of the operating system. We have Unix, we have MS-DOS also, we have MS Windows, Linux. Then you, since you are all are working with the smart classes also, in your smart classes, Ubuntu is used. Okay, so their operating system which we are using is Ubuntu. Now, why do we use Ubuntu? Because Windows is susceptible to the virus. It catches virus very quickly, but Ubuntu, it does not catch virus easily. So that's why we prefer using Ubuntu software in smart classes and all. Now, as far as the types of operating systems are concerned, let me tell you this. We have two types of operating systems. Main two types are character user, CUI. See, this is written CUI, that is character based interface, or you can say character user interface. CUI stands for command or character user interface, and we have GUI, that is graphic user interface. Now, software, or you can say operating system, that we are using since our childhood is graphical user interface, because there we get all the icons, we get a mouse pointer, we get all the options ready on the screen, and what do? We simply just click the icons or we click the options and task is done. So this kind of software where everything is available on the screen in ready-made form, and more pictures are used. Pictures means icons are used. This kind of software, this kind of operating system is called as graphical user interface. Whereas in character user interface, you do not get any pointer, you do not get any icon on the screen. After you boot your system, you simply get a black screen and you get a cursor there. And when you get that cursor, you get a prompt there. That means your computer is ready to work, and there you have to type all the commands through the keyboard. Okay, in CUI, user has to type in all the commands through the keyboard. So this is the main difference between CUI and GUI. CUI is character user interface. CUI is a traditional user interface. It provides the interactive terminal where user could enter the command to interpret. It was the only one common place to communicate between a program and its user. Nowadays also, we are using this command based interface, but not in schools. Okay, in schools, since we are teaching you, you all are laymen, so there we do not use CUI. Whereas in graphical user interface, with advancements of technology, computer system has become quicker and cheaper, and operating environment has also changed. This lead the development of graphical user interface where users can interact with the computer using pictures and graphs. So the windows which you are working with, this is an example of GUI, and MS-DOS is an example of CUI. If you want, you can have screenshot of this. You can have screenshot of this so that you get these points, the points which differentiate this GUI and CUI. GUI, everything is controlled with the help of a mouse. There you have to type all the commands through the keyboard. Okay. Here in this is user friendly. Okay, graphical and user friendly, but there it is not user friendly because it does not provide you any support. Everything has to be memorized. All the commands need to be memorized, and their proper syntax also has to be memorized. If you want to copy something, you should know what command to give and where to give the space. You need to put the colon or semicolon or spaces. all that proper syntax has to be memorized by a user. Then only a user can work with a CUI environment. Okay, in Windows, this is very easy. There is nothing to memorize. Just click the options. If you know how to read English, just see, look into the option, click the option, and task is done. Fine. It is very common, and we can preview the contents before print. There, it is impossible to preview the contents. Here, we use keyboards, mouse, and other advanced devices, whereas in CUI, only keyboard input device is there. There is no other input device which is compatible with CUI. Okay. Windows, or you can say GUI, they support multi-user, multi-processing, whereas CUI does not support multi-programming and multi-user concept. In this, if a program is open, suppose you are working with some text editor, you are typing something and then later you realized, oh, I need to work with some other application. You cannot open both the applications at the same time. You need to close the previous one, then only you can work with another application. So here in CUI, multiple applications cannot be open at the same time, whereas in GUI, you can open as many windows as you want, as many icons as you want. You can open them, you can minimize them to the taskbar, and you can work with another application. Then you have functions of operating system. Okay, these are the main functions of operating system. It manages the job waiting to be processed. It manages the storage and retrieval of data. It is used for virtual memory management. It increasing its size but using secondary memory as primary memory. This is concept of virtual memory. Virtual memory is what actually sometimes you know that what whatever application or whatever program you want to work with, that application has to be in the main memory. You know it. And main memory is what? RAM. RAM is a main memory. No. Suppose you are working with Corel Draw, then that Corel Draw program has to be there in the main memory. That is the RAM portion of your memory. If you are working with Word, then that Microsoft Word has to be there in the main memory. Now, sometimes what happens that main memory is not sufficient to hold certain, you can say, applications. Suppose you are having 2 GB RAM and the application that you want to work with is of 3 GB. And if size is 3 GB, 3 GB file cannot fit into 2 GB area, no? So there concept of virtual memory comes. उसमें क्या होता है? उसमें 2 GB रैम आप यूज करते हो, जो 2 GB रैम आपके पास अवेलेबल है वो 2 GB रैम आप यूज करते हो, प्लस 1 GB रैम जो आपको रिक्वायर्ड है दैट इज टेकन फ्रॉम द हार्ड डिस्क. सो दैट इज कॉल्ड एज वर्चुअल मेमोरी. इसका कॉन्सेप्ट इज वेरी वास्ट. ये अभी अगर मैं आपको बताऊं भी तो आपको समझ नहीं आएगा. फॉर द टाइम बीइंग आप इतना ध्यान में रखो कि वर्चुअल मेमोरी इज कि आप इमेजिन कर लेते हो कि 1 GB मेमोरी आपको और मिल गई. कहाँ से मिली? फ्रॉम द हार्ड डिस्क. ओके, सो दीज आर द functions. It manages the memory, it manages processors, it manages all the input output devices. Everything, every task is controlled by the operating system. All right, now let me evaluate you. This is what operating system is: a collection of program that what is it? That controls a computer system's hardware and enables applications and rest of the computer. This we have done. I will send you this link. इस Quizlet को करके देखना. All right. Then a computer interface is what? Computer interface is hardware that allows one or two ways communication between devices. This Quizlet I'll be sending for you. Fine. So you will have to go through all these 20 questions and you will be memorizing. You'll be memorizing these. Okay. Now you will have to tell me these questions. You tell me, you have to give me the answers in the chat box. First question is, which operating system is installed in your school's computer lab? Which operating system is being installed in your school's computer lab? I'm waiting for the answers in the chat box. Windows, but which version, Tejasvi? That I told you, Windows is, you are working with Windows, but which version of Windows is installed? Which version of Windows is installed? When you put on computers in the computer lab, what does it display in the beginning? No. Pearl Manchanda is writing Windows 10. No. We are working with, yes, Kavita is writing Windows 7. So we are working with Windows 7. Okay. What, second question is, what is CUI and GUI? Give me the full forms. Let me see how attentive you were. Very good. Mandarine Kaur gave the correct answer. Character based user interface. And what about GUI? What about GUI? Graphical user interface. Mandarin only. Good. Tejasvi also gave the correct answer. Very good. So, next topics that are left in this chapter, we will take up them later. For today's session, this was the only material. Now, I'm going to unmute you all. If you have any kind of doubts, you can come up with your doubts. Yes, you are allowed to. Yes, you are allowed to unmute you. If you want to ask something, you can. Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
No,
No,
nothing.
ma'am.
No doubt. Sure. Then shall we wind up?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. In that case, okay, all right. Anybody else who want to ask something? Everything is clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right. Then I'm winding up the session.